The point is, folks, the point is I had to slow down. We had to delay the game, right? So that we could actually learn how to play it.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
Last night I played Gin Rummy with my the family I have left at home, which is thankfully my wife is still with me, and my youngest son. We're not empty nesters yet. We're getting there. We played Gin Rummy as a family last night, just for fun. Get away from the screens, get away from the stress of life. But the funny thing is I played Gin Rummy as a child. It's a card game, by the way, if those of you who may not know. I played it as a child with my dad, but it's been a long time and I forgot the rules. So I had to maybe figure those out a little bit. I'll tell you how I did that and how it applies to business. But first, I want to pause and remind you that we're sponsored by Synapse. Synapse is the ability to be able to support your adjustments. Now, let me be clear on that when we get into the sponsorship a little bit later. But for now, go to spark4appraisers.com. Again, it's spark4appraisers.com and click on the Synapse button. All right, folks. So again, last night, my wife and I and my son were looking for something to do as a family. We like to do something at least once a week as a family, but usually a couple times a week we do activities. One of them usually get out and about and do something, hiking or whatever in the beautiful outdoors. But it was a lazy night. It was a Monday night. Let's find something to do as a family. Let's turn off our screens. Let's get away from our computers and our phones and everything else and just focus on each other. And a couple different options we had. We ended up choosing the card game way of life for a couple hours. It was fun. We had a really, really good time. I remember as a kid enjoying Gin Rummy with my dad. It was honestly, maybe this makes me less of a man. I don't know. But I've never really enjoyed poker. Part of it's because it's confusing. Part of it's because it's confusing because I'm too stupid to understand it. And I'm just not very good at it. But I do like card games and I do like Gin Rummy, but it's been a long, long time. I mean, we're talking, I don't know, 30 plus years since I played Gin Rummy with my dad. We do it on camping trips. And so I remember liking it, and I wanted to play it with the family. And, because it's been so long, I had to figure out the rules. Well, of course, I'm going to go to ChatGPT. That's going to be the easiest way, the fastest way to look something up. I really, literally, I'm not joking, folks, unless it's Google Maps and businesses and that kind of thing. I literally do not go to Google anymore. I don't. My start place is always ChatGPT. Unless I'm looking for an image or, something that would be specific to, a web search. But for the most part, if I'm just looking for information, my first go-to is going to be ChatGPT, and that's what I did last night. How do you play Gin Rummy? Well, shocker of all shockers, there's many, many different versions of Gin Rummy. And so, you kind of just have to choose which one you want to use. But we went through the process, and it's a little bit cumbersome, right, to go through the process. And at one point I said, summarize it for me. And so ChatGPT AI basically made it easy to understand. Sometimes one of the prompts I use frequently is with ChatGPT is explain this to me how you would explain it to a middle school child, and just make it a little bit easier. I've tried to explain it like a fifth grader, or excuse me, a 5-year-old. And it basically breaks it down and starts telling me nursery rhymes. So I don't want to dumb down that much, but maybe as a middle schooler, it's a little bit easier to understand. And so it did. And it told me, the rules, and they were still a little bit confusing. But once we played one or two hands, it's like, okay, I get it. I understand it. A couple things came up. We had to look it up. What happens if you do this? Oh, okay, here's the rule. The point is, folks, I had to slow down. We had to delay the game, right? So that we could actually learn how to play it. Keep that in mind. We're going to circle back to that. But first, I want to pause and remind you that we're sponsored by Synapse. I told you at the first of the program that it's the ability to support your adjustments. Let me clarify. Synapse will not do the appraisal work for you. Synapse will do the hard work of data gathering and presenting for you so that you, as the analyst, the appraiser, can make those choices and have the work file to support it. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's say you're doing an appraisal and you think that you need to make about a $25 per square foot adjustment in your report. You run Synapse, and Synapse says, no, actually, that should be somewhere between 42 and 68. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So I'm going to choose 50. Okay, use 50. All of a sudden, you use that. Not only do you have a better report, but you have a better work file. Folks, I am telling you, this will change the way you appraise real estate. Synapse can be found at spark4appraisers.com. Again, spark4appraisers.com. We're back, folks. We're dancing to the music. Welcome back to another mini-sode with Dustin Harris, your host of the Appraiser Coach podcast. Talking a little bit about, well, card games, but the principle here is very simple. As a coach, you have probably heard me say this often. In fact, I say it so often that I have an acronym for it, right? I call it OINII. And it stands for on it, not in it. Okay, use the first letter of each of those words, on it, not in it, and you spell OINII. And we talk about this in the mastermind. We talk about this in both the dream team and the all-star team. Are you doing your OINII time? Are you working on it, not in it? What does that mean, folks? Well, if you've never read the E-Myth, okay, I highly recommend that you do so. It's kind of our Bible for the mastermind. It is a powerful book about how to run a business as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a technician, right? Many of us are both appraisers and business owners at the same time. This book is amazing to share with you some powerful, powerful tools and principles and practices that will allow you to be more effective, more efficient. One of the things that Michael Gerber, the author, talks about often is working on it, not in it. That means you stop the technician side long enough to focus on the business owner side. Stop doing appraisals for a bit, right? Stop inspecting houses, stop pulling comps, stop using Synapse, whatever it is. The technician side takes a back seat once in a while for you to now work on your business. What does that mean? That means focusing on what is going to make you more efficient, more effective, a better business owner, a more effective and successful business owner, right? You have, just like we did in the card game, we had to pause and find out the rules, right? We wanted to play the game, but before we could play the game, we had to figure out the game. Before you can play the game of running a real estate appraisal business, you have to figure it out, not just once, not just in the beginning, but frequently, folks, frequently take time, I would say weekly take time to work on it, not in it. By the way, folks, all new all-star team, all new system, all new forum, all new everything is in one place on the appraisercoach.com. Would love to have you over there. By the way, the first month is always free, always. Sign up, become a member. If you don't like it, cancel. No harm, no foul. I think you'll love it. Theappraisercoach.com. It's the all-star team. Thank you, folks. Catch you next time.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.